we've got our templates, and templates are these pre-created messages. I call them messages because they're not necessarily emails. Now, that contact preference that I showed you guys, the reason why I love it so much is because let's say I write a pre-written message and I attach it to one of my automations. Well, maybe when it sends to me, my preference is SMS. It's not going to send me an email. It's going to convert that email into 160 character SMS so that it can send it out to me the way I want it to be received. Nice. So I like to say it's written to sound like me, but it's designed specifically for you. And so we've got our templates, and these are those pre-written things. Now, some of them can be a little bit more generic because of what I'm going to show you in a second. But, maybe we have the content we want. Now, an example of this, when you pick up a trial, I go and I teach you about the system through an onboarding process, very similar like how I'm doing now. And so it's not going to change based on the person. So it is a standardized email. So you can have both of those play into it. But then that's where we come to these routines. Now, everyone has a routine. You have a morning routine. You wake up in the morning. For me, I brush my teeth. I go make some coffee. I go for a walk with my roommate's dog, come back, I shower, and I get to work. That's my morning routine. So if you start thinking about automations as these routines that you would have, it's not necessarily any different than these sequential lists, but I think it just makes a little more sense in my mind, at least. So we've got these routines that come into play. And so I'm going to show you the birthday one because that's the one. And it comes back to this, what is the world-class client experience? What is the best experience we could make? It's so good, people can't help but giving us free marketing for it, right? So I like to say, and I'm pretty excited about this. This idea comes from a man named Andy Frisella. He owns a supplement company that I do business with called First Form, and free marketing right there, case in point. He will write a handwritten letter thanking you for your business when you purchase supplements, right?
I have gotten several of them.
Yeah. And Alex Hermosi, big entrepreneur, he's also now sharing this idea. So it's taking hold. And so writing and placing a birthday card in the mail seems trivial, but it could be a really powerful piece. So I've got this set to be done 4 days, and you could make it days, weeks, months, years. You could make it before or after, 4 days before the birth date. So that important date is the birth date. And I've said 4 days before the birth date, I need a reminder, and it's going to send a message to me to send a birthday card. Now, this is where that template comes into play. If I made a generic template, I could attach that generic template to there. But then back to those objectives, just like when we were creating resources and just like when I was working to create those custom pieces, you can do that inside here. And the power of these routines is that I could have a routine trigger for 100 people all at once, and each of those 100 people is going to get a custom message specifically to them, and it's all happening at once, right? So this one is write a custom birthday message I can handwrite onto a birthday card for this contact. Use detailed shared in the personal details section of their contact. Maybe that's a better thing that I should have used on the previous section. But so now what it's going to do is it's going to send me a message that is going to have a pre-written, personalized, custom message for the person it's going to. Maybe it triggers for your contact. I get a message, hey, Mark's birthday is in 4 days. You need to write this card. So it'll give me the copy. I don't have to sit down and think about, oh man, what would Mark like on a card? I just write it down and then I send it in the mail. And hopefully 4 days is enough time for USPS to take your 49-cent forever stamp and get it to you, right? So
I think 69 cents.
Oh my gosh. So after that, I've got a couple other things. Maybe I think about, oh, man, this is the world-class client experience. So we're gonna do one of these things. Maybe we're ordering a gift card to a local restaurant, and then we're sending them a personal menu selection. So this is really cool. I'm a foodie. And so now I get the opportunity to go to all of the new restaurants in town, try out some stuff. And this is in the name of customer research, right?
Yeah.
And so now I can say, oh, I know Ruth's Chris is your favorite. Maybe Ruth's Chris opens in Springfield, and I say, hey, Mark, here's a birthday gift card for Ruth's Chris. Dinner's on me tonight. I absolutely loved the steak from Ruth Chris Steakhouse.
Absolutely.
You never get the chicken fingers at a steakhouse, right? And that's an easy slam dunk, but you get the idea. So send a personal message. Maybe we're ordering a book. Maybe I have a favorite book that I read this year, and my go-to favorite book is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's a really great book. It teaches you how this FBI negotiator is able to, he kind of like, he attacks human psychology in a way that helps you understand how to work with people better. And what better way to do that than in a field where we work with people? So maybe that's the book that I'm sending out as a birthday book this year. And so maybe, I get a reminder to order. Crumble cookie is like the big hot thing in St. Louis.
Love me crumbles.
And so you can order a single cookie. You can have it delivered through various different delivery services. Maybe you and task your assistant. You could send out a cookie. Maybe they're not into sweets. Maybe they prefer a bottle of wine. So there are different options. Maybe it's some birthday flowers. But we've got some options of things. Again, this is the world-class client experience. This isn't the average everyday happy birthday email experience that every brand that they've ever shared their email with since they were 12 years old is doing. We're going a step above the rest. Now, at the end of that, we want to give them a call on their birthday, right? So 0 days after their birth date, it's going to happen at noon. Now, you could adjust when this is due, essentially, to fit your schedule. You can add colors to it, and then you can assign. Now, I said I have lots of team members in my account. Maybe it gets assigned to someone that's not me, or maybe I actually am the one who takes on. And then this action is a birthday call. Now, selected means that it is going to happen automatically. So I'm going to get a notification, hey, you need to call this person when it comes due, and it's going to be added to my birthday's call list. So it's doing all the legwork of scheduling all of this for me. Now, the intention with this birthday's call list, you click on this call list, it's going to pop up who am I calling, their email. It's going to have a little text field for me to type details of the call. Sam's going to be able to take those details, and if there's stuff that it can use, it'll start using that information. And then I love this idea of Sam coaching us. Now, we've got a lot of younger individuals coming into real estate who maybe they don't have the best social skills, and that's okay. I don't like phone calls. And so maybe I struggle on the phone a little bit with holding communication. And so what Sam's able to do is say, hey, here's some things about Mark. And it's going to give me one or two of those personal details. Those are good conversational starters. And then Sam is also going to say, also, I would like you to ask him this question. Now, what that question is going to be, generated by Sam. But what the system is hoping to do is learn something new about you. It's giving me the ability to ask that question naturally, and then I can add it to the personal details, which gives the system more information about you, so it can customize the content additionally, just even further, right? And so this is how these automations start to work. They're sending things on your behalf. They're working to help keep your schedule maintained. They're building out these things, and they're all being triggered on these dates. These important dates are what triggers them. So now it's a different game. We don't have to start these automations when the date field gets filled out. Boom, that's already in the sequence. So now we don't have to worry about it. Now, the other cool thing, let's say I built out a routine activity that caused me to call you. Well, your last call date gets updated. Well, maybe my last call date, important date, has a routine associated, and now that gets triggered. So routines can trigger other routines to happen organically.
And that's really why I say, because you described this earlier, that's why I'm saying you don't need the groups and you don't really need to build the entire workflow. You can just start building small pieces at your own pace for the things that you really want to achieve, your objective for whatever date it is. And as you build more routines, your process gets more refined. It's naturally building a complete workflow, but in smaller sections. And I love that.
Thank you.
That
Yeah, and you know, this idea is like, how do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time, right? And so you don't have to have all your systems. Maybe you do have all your systems, and that's going to build a better business. But the other thing is, this scales much easier. We don't have to have new staff members learning all of these, 100-piece workflows, these automations. They just have to think about, okay, well, this is for the birthday. This is, and it just a little bit more organic. And, you're exactly right. It stacks. And so it scales with us. And then in marketing, we have this concept called A/B testing. Let's say we have an advertisement image that we post to Facebook. We've got two different images that we're going to post, and then we're going to see which one more people comment on, which more people click to our website through, and whichever one is better, we're going to keep, right? And so we can kind of A/B test our routines as we're building down this world-class experience. The more people that are engaging with our routine and like it and are sharing about it, that means we're getting closer and closer to that world-class client experience. That means we know that it's a great one. Now, at some point, we're like, man, this is a well-oiled machine. That's when you start going to your next routine, and you can start kind of zooming in one at a time as these processes happen, and you don't have to go, oh, man. And this is another thing. Agents all the time I talk to, and they kind of will get onto this topic of automating tasks, and they kind of like, their energy drops, their head goes down, and inevitably they're like, yeah, I know I need these. I don't know where to start. I don't have the time for it, or my system can't do that for me. And so now you just have to think about the process that you're doing, and more importantly, the important date that is happening for that process. And you can start building these really easily.